Thanks everyone for coming today. I appreciate the turnout. I definitely appreciate the family members of Jessica being here. Jessica is the most important part of this, and at the end of this day, we always want to remember that Jessica should be remembered past anything else. The police department, as well as SLED, has worked hard and tirelessly to try to bring those to justice that have harmed Jessica. But again, going forward, we always want to remember that she is most important. And her mother has been a constant rock. She has assisted me with as much information she's been able to provide, and as much information and insight into Jessica's life and how important and what a vibrant young lady she was. And I want everybody to understand that she will be missed, and she was an important member of the Pendleton community, and we enjoyed what I've learned about her. I wish I would have had more time to meet her and speak to her, and we want to go forward from this. Currently, I'm going to read our update. On September the 10th of this year, Miss Cecilia, Jessica Barnes' mother, reported her missing to the Pendleton Police Department. Officers began investigating the facts and circumstances surrounding her disappearance. On September 16th, I contacted the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division for assistance in locating Jessica. Agents for SLED began to provide assistance to Pendleton officers on September 17th. They were here the next day. Details surrounding the disappearance were vague, and material and personnel from SLED were required and needed for this continued investigation. Pendleton officers and agents from SLED, as well as assistants from the Clemson University Police Department and Pickens County Sheriff's Office, were able to locate a potential site in the Twin Lakes area of Pickens County along Lake Hartwell. During this search, remains were found and later identified as human. SLED agents were able to collect forensic samples, and the SLED laboratory continues to process these samples at this time. The Pickens County coroner was called to assist and provide recovery, assistance, and autopsy services in conjunction with the Anderson County Coroner's Office. Also, a forensic anthropologist from Clemson University helped identify the remains as human. The husband of the missing girl, Brandon Barnes, as well as the two roommates, Kendall Mims and Victoria Trippett, were then interviewed at this time. On October 1st, Pendleton officers and the Pickens County coroner were notified by a forensic odontologist that the remains were identified as Jessica Barnes. A forensic odontologist is someone that studies bones, specifically teeth, jaw structure, things like that. Officers from the Pendleton Police Department and agents from SLED brought Brandon Barnes and the two roommates, Kendall Mims and Victoria Trippett, to the Clemson Police Department to conduct interviews. After those interviews were conducted around 12 a.m. this morning, all three of those individuals were then arrested and charged by the Pendleton Police Department. The following charges were made this morning: Brandon Barnes for murder, Kendall Mims, accessory after the fact, obstruction of justice, and misprision of a felony, as well as Victoria Tippett for accessory after the fact, obstruction of justice, and misprision of a felony. All the agents and officers that worked tirelessly and diligently on this, I would like to thank these agencies: the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, the Clemson Police Department, Clemson University Police Department, Pickens County Coroner's Office, the Pickens County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Anderson County Coroner's Office. This case does remain active, and the investigations continue as we gather more evidence. We hope that as we do this and as this information gets out, I call for any members of the public to, if they have anything or have any kind of knowledge of the actions of the suspects or their whereabouts, that they would report them to the police department. They can come here to town hall, they can speak to any of my officers, they can call SLED and speak to any of their agents, and we will do our best to follow up and gather more information. Prosecution will continue, and we expect and hope that the 10th Circuit solicitors will prosecute everything to the fullest extent of the law. We owe that to Jessica, and we owe that to her memory. Everything that I know about her, again, she was a fighter, and she stood strong. She believed in what she believed in, and we look forward to honoring her memory. We have to do what we have to do. There are some questions I hope to be able to answer, but I hope that everyone does understand that it is an ongoing investigation, and that ourselves and SLED want to make sure that we preserve the investigation in order to comply fully with the law and with the solicitor's office so that prosecution does take place. Before I take any messages or any questions, I will turn it over to Cecilia. I believe she has some statement to speak about her daughter.
Okay.
It's okay, I do it all the time.
Okay, thank you all for coming and for being here with me and for all the prayers and support. And what can I say? Jessica was full of life. She believed in Jesus and God, and she loved God with all her heart. And now she's with Jesus. And we're all sad, but we know that she's better over there than in here. She's not with her abuser anymore, and she's in heaven with Jesus. And I thank God and everybody who helped her find it, and I want to thank everybody who prays for us and for the family and for the siblings. And I'm gonna continue to be a voice for Jessica and to spread like awareness for her and for the horrible thing that happened to her. And I know that God is in control, and God is with her, God is with us. And thank you all for coming, and we keep on hoping and praying that God will intervene to all the cases, and everybody that is watching and taking action. Any victims of violence, domestic violence, will stop. And that's all. We just pray and hope that God will give us strength and to continue to do that, to be a voice for her.
Thank you, Cecilia. Right now, I'll open the floor for any questions if anybody has anything, and I'll try to answer the best of my abilities. Yes, ma'am.
Do we know where Jessica was last seen? I know it was August 1st.
Jessica was last seen at her residence on Laurel Drive.
Who saw her there?
Her husband and roommates.
So he confirmed seeing her, but then after that, that's when the information stopped.
Well, the information sort of stopped, and the information was kind of getting put out convoluted via social media, and that's what took some of the time to process the intelligence coming from social media and to filter that out. But we do know that Jessica was at her residence all the way through September the 2nd.
Do we know through September 2nd? She was in her residence through September.
I'm sorry, August 2nd. I apologize,
Okay.
August 2nd.
Thank you. And I don't mean this as a criticism, but how was it that Pendleton Police got involved a month and a half later, that it wasn't sooner?
We were notified by Miss Cecilia here. It was normal for Jessica to have limited contact, and it was infrequent, so to speak, good days or good weeks with her mother. And when her mother hadn't realized that she had spoke to Jessica after about a month, because she typically calls on the birthday, at that point she became concerned and she reported it to the police department here on the 10th of September.
Ms. Bahar, it was your birthday. She didn't call you on your birthday.
She did not go.
When's your birthday?
August 26th.
August
26.
26, you didn't hear from him, I understand.
No.
And then the Twin Lakes boat ramp, is that Anderson and Pickens County? Is that like jurisdiction?
There is a little bit of the Twin Lakes recreational area that is inside Anderson County. Where the remains were located were in the Pickens County portion of the Twin Lakes area.
And you called SLED because you knew it was outside of the town of Pendleton, it was going to be multi-jurisdictional?
We called SLED. Our resources here in Pendleton are very good. They also are limited in some aspects of investigations and some of the tools that the larger agencies around us do have. And with once we realized that our bandwidth had kind of reached its maximum, I knew at that point that we needed some of the assistance from SLED, and they would be able to provide it without any question.
And any idea cause of death at this point?
Based on the coroner's report, there was no confirmed cause of death. The coroner's report only listed as a homicide.
Do you anticipate additional charges in Pickens County, or?
I believe that SLED is working on continued investigation inside Pickens County, and SLED would be the best to answer about Pickens County, because Pendleton, we ended our jurisdiction and within Anderson County. Yes.
What detention center is he housed in, or they housed in?
They are currently housed at the Anderson County Detention Center. Their warrants have been served on them, and they should have a bond hearing at 4 p.m. today. 4 p.m. is the scheduled bond time in the afternoon for the Anderson County Sheriff's Office.
Also, do you have a picture of the mugshot? I know their site is down right now.
I do not. They are having critical infrastructure issues with some of their electronics, CAD and dispatch and things like that, and their software program that works that does not. So I currently do not have one.
And also, the Anderson County Coroner's Office sent out a release earlier. When did they get involved? I know since she was found in Pickens County.
Yes.
When did Anderson County Coroner's Office actually get involved with the case?
They got involved when Pickens County Coroner decided to move the remains to Anderson County for a full autopsy. So Greg Shore and his team, along with the ME, was able to conduct that at Anderson at ANMED.
And also, was she killed in Anderson County or killed in Pickens County?
She was killed here in Anderson, inside the city limits of Pendleton.
So it's your understanding the remains were moved to Twin Lakes?
The remains were located at Twin Lakes, and we're continuing to look into it and conduct some more investigation to how they got there.
Had she been, I understand just from some of the first media reporting that there were some text messages going out after August 2nd.
Yeah.
Cecilia, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I received some messages, I guess it was from him, telling that she went to Michigan with her friends and her accounts were deleted, and she doesn't want to give me the phone number, but I believe it was from him.
Okay,
So there was-
Michigan with friends.
Yeah, he was making a story.
So I can't help Miss Cecilia with that. So contact was made with authorities in Michigan as well as the Department of Homeland Security to make sure she had not left the country due to the fact that she did have a passport. And that was confirmed. She had not left the country, and welfare checks were conducted at the residences that we had listed in Michigan, and those turned up negative as well.
Did Jessica grow up in Pendleton? She Pendleton High School?
No,
grad?
no. We moved here 2 years ago. 2.
And your whole family's here today?
Yeah, all her siblings are here.
If no one else has any further questions, I hope to continue to be able to provide updates as they move along. Again, working in conjunction with SLED and especially waiting on information that comes out of the lab in Columbia. They do a great job and they push out as much as they can, as fast as they can. And we are being tagged as a priority case, so we hope to get as much as we can as soon as possible. And again, hopefully the information, as soon as I get it, I can be able to continue to push it out to everyone. Yes, ma'am.
I did wonder, this is quite rare, right? Pendleton has not seen,
That is correct, ma'am. The town of Pendleton and the almost 4,000 residents here, the violent crime rate in this town is almost nil. I believe based on the last count, the last homicide that we had in town was in December 2019. If no one else has any questions, I would like to introduce the mayor of Pendleton, Mr. Frank Crenshaw. I believe he wanted to speak or had some words.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's truly with a heavy heart that I come here today. And I'd like to echo the chief's remarks. I appreciate the professionalism and the great job that our department did and all the other agencies. But first and foremost, I just wanted to say that our hearts and prayers at the town of Pendleton go out to Cecilia and her family. This is just terrible things. The first time I've had to come to something like this is mayor, and it's a terrible loss for our community, but we just will continue to pray. And I know that as Cecilia had mentioned, she's going to be in a better place today. We'll just trust in Jesus and trust in the Lord, and everything will work out from there. But thank you. That's about all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I guess last parting thoughts again was to keep the family and everybody's thoughts and prayers. We are going to work with Cecilia and her family as long as we can for whatever is needed with her. We plan to support her and do what we can to provide information and to provide justice for her daughter, Jessica. And again, one last, if there's anything else.
Troy?
Oh, yes, I apologize. I believe Troy had something to say. I'll turn it over to him real quick.
The family has prepared a statement. We're deeply saddened to share that Jessica is no longer with us. In her 20 years, she lit up every room she entered. Jessica had ambition, she had dreams, and her soul was a constant witness to others through her faith. We are profoundly thankful for the dedication of all agencies involved in this case, especially the tireless work of Chief Robert Crosby of the Pendleton Police Department, who devoted himself to finding the answers that we have shared here today. With heavy hearts, we humbly return Jessica into the hands of Jesus, where we know that she is now safe from her abuser. Her spirit is renewed, and she is enveloped in the love she so longed for so deeply while she was with us here on this earth. We hope this serves as a message to domestic violence victims everywhere. Please reach out for help. Jessica was strong, but piece by piece, her strength was stripped away. We kindly ask for continued privacy in the coming days as we fully commit ourselves to being Jessica's voice, and we will seek justice for her as her own voice has been diminished. We ask that any media inquiries for the family be sent to press@bluntforcemedia.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Troy. And last thing, I tend to speak a lot, unfortunately. Last thing, I do want to, all the agencies are involved, but I do want to give all the credit to my police officers. My police officers work primarily patrol. They do a great job for this town. They protect the residents, they protect the citizens, they protect the visitors as diligently as they can. But three of them stood out. That is Officer Steve Westcott, Officer Kaylor Bishop, and Officer Gabriel Biddlecombe. And they have worked tirelessly interacting with SLED as I have tried to step back and let them work, and they've done an outstanding job. And if it wasn't for their efforts and all the hard work and long hours that they put in, we would not be standing here today. Thank you for everyone for their time, and feel free to reach out to me. Everybody here has my contact information, and I can answer questions moving forward after today.